The more I use the Godox IT32 with the X5 remotes, the more I like it. I love this system where I can just swap out the remotes for each camera system, having one for each, and they're inexpensive. The X5 remotes are cheap comparison. I think they're like $19 to $20 or $23, and the flash itself can go with any system at all. You just have to swap out the remote. I love this system. Anyway, let's get into a shoot and see how this thing does again. Now, as you saw in the beginning there, I showed this Wotan Crep bag before. I just love this bag because I use this for events. I don't want a big bag with me. And I can have a spare lens in here, my flash, everything I need, spare batteries in this little bag, and it's lightweight, easy to carry around. As far as the IT32 and the X5, I just want to show you one more video with this. I want to do some, mixed lighting, some straight light. I love this flash. The more I'm using it, the more I'm liking it. It is a great little flash, and it will probably be at just about every single event I do. Yeah, there's some cases where I'm going to need a bigger flash because of larger groups and so forth. But for everything else, and I mean large groups, everything else, this is going to do just fine. This here is the way I love to shoot. And being able to throw it on here, whether I'm shooting on this or just a place to rest it, is fine. As far as knocking it off, people are asking to knock it off. It would take quite a bit to knock it off because if you hit it this way, it's not going to be knocked off because it has to be pulled out straight. So it would have to be hit in a very particular way for this to fly off of the transmitter. But anyway, like I said, fantastic flash. I love it. I would rather have two of these because I know people are concerned about, the internal battery. I'll carry two of these in my bag every day of the week and just switch it out if it ever does run out of battery power. But I don't see it happening, honestly. I've been doing, really well with it. And again, having two of these, this is small and lightweight. And remember, you can buy these separate. So you can get this one alone, or you can get the X5 alone, or you can get them as a group. My suggestion is getting two of, for what you're going to use for your camera, because having a spare X5 and a spare IT32 is a good idea if you are shooting events. If you're just a hobbyist or a family shooter, it doesn't matter. But love this system. I think it's fantastic. Anyway, let's get to the shoot, see what we can do with this again. For this video, I'm going to try to show just a little bit more behind the scenes kind of looks and how I'm using the flash as much as possible. Then we'll go back into the normal videos that I normally do. But I just wanted to show you my setup for this and how I use it. I use this handheld most of the time, but I really wanted to try it on this little stand. Now, this is a selfie stick with a tripod leg attached to it. And I mean, it's tall enough for this flash and it handles this flash without problem. And these legs extend even further. I love this little system because it is so tiny. This, when you take them apart, it'll actually fit in the front part of my bag, my Wotan Crep bag. And because this flash is so lightweight and small, this stand handles it without a problem. So this is a really nice setup. And I'm gonna leave. Someone recommended leaving like a group thing to a store where all this stuff is in, so you don't have to search everywhere for it. So that's what I'm gonna do in the description. I'm gonna leave a link to a little storefront with this stand, the legs, and the flash and stuff like that. This is a really nice setup, and I love using this. I'm actually kind of surprised on how much I enjoyed using this little setup. Now remember, it is a small flash. It's a matter of placement and where your model's looking, so you can reduce those shadows. Because everybody says, every time they use the smaller flash or the flash without a big modifier, they get hard shadows. They don't like the look. You can see it on the left side of her nose there. You get a little bit of a shadow. If you just turn her head a little bit more towards the light, that shadow is going to be gone. And you can still get dimension with shadows. Like this one here, I have her facing the flash just a little bit more. Oh, anyway, this is the selfie stick just with the flash. So, a lot of you say like, well, I just take the selfie stick around. This selfie stick with this flash is so easy to use because again, that flash is so lightweight and I wasn't worried about that flash falling off the magnet whatsoever. And the reason I'm not worried about it is there's a deep set foot that this flash goes in along with the magnets. So just tilting left or right, it won't come off because it won't tilt unless you pull it up first. If you pull it up, then it can tilt off or come off. But, just by tilting that flash or bumping it, it wouldn't fall off on its own. And this selfie stick, it has, enough height to use it on a stand like this. And I can even make it go higher because of the legs on the foot of this. They extend quite a bit as well, and they adjust it to 2 different levels. So this is a really, really nice setup for a lot of people that don't want the big setups and they just want to be able to use off-camera flash like this quick and easy. This is perfect for that. So anyway, now that I took some around the building, I'm doing some in the studio, and here I'm just using some mixed lighting. I have LED set on low, so I would say it's about 60% flash and 40% LED that I'm using with this mixed lighting, and it's working fine. The color temperatures, I set it to just slightly warm on the camera because I just wanted a little bit of a warmer look instead of a cooler look. And that you just set with your white balance. So rather than going auto white balance, set your white balance to your desired color temp. You set it at 5200 Kelvin or 5000 Kelvin, versus 56 or 58. And remember, sunlight's in between 58 to 6000, sometimes a little higher, depending on what time of the day you're shooting. And some flashes, they go from 56 to 6000 to 6100 Kelvin. So if you just set the temperature in your camera to your Kelvin temperature rather than flash or auto, you can adjust the way your photos look with flash. It makes it a lot easier. Now remember, if you're shooting in a studio environment or a wall behind your subject that's close, you just have to angle the light correctly. Say you don't have the room to pull them away from the wall far enough to hide a shadow or get rid of a shadow. Just move that light over and have them turn their head towards the light. But always pull them away from the wall as far as you can. Now here, I'm going to feather it just a little bit so it's not going directly at her. Like this here is more directly at her and you can see the shadowing and the harder light. But if I just turn that flash just a little bit, I pull it up and turn it away from her so it's just going across the front of her, that'll soften it. And you can see how much softer the light looks here on her face. It's not quite as shadowy. For me, I always push the shadows, but if you do like that softer look, you can get it with a small light source like this. Again, it's just a matter of angling it, feathering it when you can. That was, going across her, so it's hitting that white wall on the opposite side and coming back and filling in a little bit. So, you just have to be aware of your model's angles and your flash angles. And if you don't like the look, after you shoot it and you see it in camera, if it's a little bit too harsh, have them turn their face towards the camera a little bit, or just adjust your light just a little bit. Anyway, this flash with this stand and the legs for this, I think this is a fantastic setup for a lot of people. Now, again, I want to address the question I always get is, should I get the IT30 or the IT32? If you want to use the flash in this manner, the IT30 is a fantastic flash. I do love it. But you need a remote or a second IT30 to use it off camera like this. You can get the IT30 with the X3, but this is an all-in-one package for 99 bucks, give or take a few dollars, because the flash is 79. The remotes are like $19 to $23 a piece. They're a little bit higher for Sony. But getting the IT32 with X5 remote and that little selfie stick and stand mount, this is it. I mean, you're good to go out of box. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them below, and I'll leave the link for that stuff in the description.